NRG back in, and who do you got on the roster? Stratus is back in town.
That was my sigh of relief right there.
It's like, okay, this is the NRG we know that, you know, took NYXL as much as they can handle and more. So this makes a lot more sense coming out here in Anubis, where, look, Stratus is very good at early Junkrat. He's very good at entry Genji if he ends up doing it. Versatile player that has played quite well here so far.
And so, bye week, they need to reverse sweep NRG Esports at this point, but this is NRG's best look. Rascal and Stratus. I know we have a small sample size, right, of what Rascal can do, but in the last two matches, he's already performed drastically better than what we've seen Poise do at the end of last season and already at the beginning of this season.
Yeah, I mean, for NRG, like I said, I get why in the experiment contenders you have deeper rosters, but the disparity is so big compared to when they want Rascal and Stratus as a duo versus when they don't, that for now you got to keep them in until you see a reason otherwise.
So Moira, Lucio, triple tank, and Lefa on the Widowmaker for bye week. They're just waiting for that speed boost to come on back for the Lucio, and they will sneak their way in onto the left-hand side.
Lefa looking for the early pickoff. Under pressure from Rascal, who so far is keeping Lefa a little bit more in check as Widow.
As they make their own approach on in, the Junkrat will not dissuade him. They try to speed boost right on top of him, chasing down. It looks like Fozix dropping down low, but he's able to make it to safety. Drop down 1 HP.
Rascal other side, not quite able to connect. Fozix out of the fight, the one casualty here for NRG. Lefa gets Rascal on the other side, and it's back and forth, and even as Stratus gets a mech down, and at 60% to Riptire, his team has kind of gone all around him, and time for a Valentine Rose, but Specs got two! Specs, his Roadhog is a barrier, and now Stratus coming back in, gets Pizza Demon, is the dream alive!
2 ticks are secured here, and Stratus is now the cornered Junkrat. And it looks like someone was able to contest in time for NRG, but will it be enough? Shane is able to take out Rob with losing the supports. They're not going to have the sustain here. Stratus is trying his best, but it's not enough.
Close, but as you say, not enough. And credit where credit's due is that the actual turning point there, given what Smex and Stratus would later do, it was Widow Battle being won by Lefa, where once Lefa got Rascal down, that was the turning point. So now bye week, they're going to try and take advantage of momentum here. Minish real close to the Graviton Surge. Lefa, though, going to fall. Rascal getting his salty revenge with 2 down. It's looking good for NRG.
Bye week tried to snowball this in, and it almost worked out. Only 1 tick secured, though. They were really close. That second tick. Going to be able to get the stagger onto Waifu here. Never mind, Swan might chase it down. Waifu gets his mech back, but he's going to wait until he's safe. Never mind, Swan chases him down.
All right, NRG gets a bit of stability here, and now we move into the Anubis phase where it's a question, what can you stockpile? How cleanly can you do it? Bye week is working on a bit of a stash here. They're going to have Graviton Surge and Self-Destruct up. And those two together can be quite powerful, especially when you're getting in at point B.
And I like the swap coming out from Fozix going over to the Ana, because they know that there's no mercy on the other side. They don't have to battle Resurrect for Resurrect, so Fozix can just go for, you know, the more damage output. If he gets a good biotic nade, he just canceled out that Moira. Talking about canceling out supports, JKW and Pizza Demon are gone.
The fight was over before the Graviton was even thrown out here, where they threw both in, but they lost so many in the back, courtesy of Rascal, who had a very nice flank, and he still has more! Rascal with 3 kills here to begin with, if not 4. And Rascal pulled NRG out of the fire there. Really good stuff from him on the Genji.
See, Lefa has now swapped off. He's going over to the Tracer, but it's bye week. They've got the Earth Shatter, so there's a definite win condition for them there. If Swan drops the barrier, and then they're able to wait that out, Shane might be able to come up with a huge clutch Earth Shatter. It's still going to be difficult to try and land it on the high mobility heroes of NRG.
NRG holding back, and I mean, key problem here for bye week is that they're going to want to open with the barrier, but if Rascal just waits a little bit and be like, okay, well, your barrier's gone, I guess I'm going to Dragon Blade now. Bye week, under pressure, and this is where JKW is going to go, crap, 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 under pressure, time the barrier. Hasn't done it yet, they're going to wait for the Coalescence first. Now they move in, and Rascal's actually like, I don't care about the beat, and that might be his downfall here. The beat going to be stopping a lot of the damage from these slashes, puts the blade away without block done, but the tire from the flip side on Stratus likely going to do enough here. Shane is gone, you don't have the ride swing the hammer, and bye week, gonna get thrown back.
Yeah, the idea behind that blade wasn't bad at all, right? Moira, very vulnerable despite, you know, the power of the coalescence, because if she can't consistently heal with by landing the damage or throwing out the biotic orb, she will fall to the Genji, so she is quite vulnerable.
Okay, so that's why Fozzik says, like, that was a weird nano boost unless he's swapping, and yeah, Mercy back in play.
Now, maybe they were expecting for bye week to go off to the Mercy themselves, but instead they're going to stick with this composition. They're not really changing anything up, and now they've hit critical mass. They've got the Earth Shatter still. They've got the self-destruct. Minish is getting close to the whole hog, and Lefa has that pulse bomb.
Meanwhile, bye week is going in on the left flank where they're just going, you know what, Shane, we believe in you. Why don't you get a good Earth Shatter, set things up, and Swan's already down. Shane's gonna drop the hammer. It's just one, but it's a big one. Rascal's out. 6-on-4 edge right now for bye week. And NRG against the wall a bit, but here's the thing. Swan's gonna be able to come back in off the respawn Primal Rage by time. And Straz's tire taken down by Shane. What a beautiful fire strike on the other side. Now, of course, see Swan back in, raging his way back, but momentum being very rough. But there's Rascal with the blade. Has one, dashing around, looking for the D-Mech, and is gonna get it, but NRG still needs to clear off these big bodies, and they're not there yet.
They are bleeding kills our bye week though, so their performance, or excuse me, their presence is just absolutely lacking now as the respawns come in for NRG. They will be able to clean up bye week, but some damage was done. Bye week getting up to 92.1% in that last fight, and that's the problem right here on Anubis Point B. If you bleed one kill, next thing you know, you bleed a second, it just snowballs out of control. You're no longer going to be able to continue that push.
Interesting change-up here. Stratus, he was the grounded explosive hero in Junkrat, and now he's going to the skies, and defensive Pharah can be pretty good here, and there's not a clear answer for bye week. I mean, I guess you have a Hanzo that can swap to, but also not the greatest.
A lot of swaps came out for bye week as Pizza Demon and JKW, they go over to Mercy and Zenyatta. Lefa now on the Hanzo, and Minish goes over to the Brigitte with Chain swapping off on to the Winston.
I really like this from NRG with how good Stratus's Pharah is and the fact that Hanzo isn't the most ideal anti-air setup. He's going to float around, he's going to draw a lot of the Hanzo's fire, and Lefa can't handle it. Was going for the Pharah, doesn't see Rascal on the other side, and Rob's just going to flank as Zen, going for that technique fire on the side, and gets Pizza Demon. Nice stuff.
This is Apex levels of stall right here, just body.
He got a second!
Oh, boy.
I wish I could have seen more of that flank, because Rob, that was the stuff of greatness coming up there.
It's alarms and right there. Now bye week, just running out of time, 1 minute and 17 seconds left. They're so close to getting point B, but now they're in that territory where one bad fight, one stalled out fight could just spell the end of their attack. NRG have the tools to stop them. They've got, of course, the Transcendence along with the both tank ultimates for Smex and Swan and Stratus, laying in wait with that barrage.
Bye week. Hanging on back right now, and as you mentioned, it is 1 minute left. This is going to be one of their final attempts, but they have to get through a brick wall of ultimates here, and they got to do it down Minish. They should just reset right now. Don't poke the bear, at least go for that one good attempt. But the problem is, they use Valkyrie, so they're down resources they needed. And why are you not going back? Why are you still getting staggered? Oh boy. Well,
yeah.
Anytime they're going to have is now going to the wayside. I don't understand.
This is the dangerous territory where you don't give yourself enough time to comfortably run onto the point. Someone has to just make a mad dash for it. And in that regard, they leave themselves very vulnerable. 10 seconds left for bye week. Someone's gonna have to touch the point. They have to touch the point very soon.
Well, one way they can do this, of course, is Transcendence, but they're going to be going uphill right now. JKW already under attack. Pizza Demon feels the need to transcend to save him. As Lefa, he got Winston in the back line. Going back, he's going to Primal Rage. He's a huge distraction. You've split up your team in halves. Meanwhile, the other half is on the point. JKW's wondering where life went wrong. NRG gets to stack the box right on back, and they're going to get the pickoffs they need. There's no more supports. Bye week has no more feasible way of actually taking this point. No one's going to live. The supports are gone, and it's all clean up from here as NRG is going to hold them off at point B.
That was the biggest fear we had for bye week's second to last push. If it wasn't successful on the onset, you have to instantly call for the reset because you need an extra 5-10 seconds to be able to safely get onto the point. You got to see what Swan was able to do once the pressure was put on to bye week. He was able to split up the team once again with the Primal Rage. We've seen it on point B, Anubis, happen so often where because the team is rushing to get in, they're not safely getting their backline into the fight.
NRG now gets to go and run once more. And, I mean, you take a look at here where what they're going with. They're going to be... got Stratus on the Genji, Rascal on the Hanzo.
Phozix on the Pharah.
Yeah, I don't think Phozix can entertain his dreams, but...
He's just a real fan of alliteration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. But, I mean, they're on the attack here, where what was throwing me off for says, like, they are going on the attack. They've somehow lost a second on the points. It's like, wait. And it is NRG's attack, right? It's like, what is going on here? Why is it 3:59 game? Please.
You know, I'm not completely opposed to Phozix going with this Pharah. Without a Mercy, it'd be very difficult.
The world has given NRG a 1 second handicap.
Ah, there we go. There's the swap off. Rascal goes over to the Mercy. This is happening. Yeah, this is happening.
Again, not a big fan of, they're on offense. They're probably going to change it back. They're just messing around right now. I don't believe that they're going to just screw around to this extent.
I want to say stranger things have happened, but King's Row. But bye week now, coming onto the defense here, they're going to go with a triple tank setup once again. Shane is going to be on the Orisa, Waifu, of course, on the D.Va, and Minish on the Roadhog. So they're going to put, you know, a lot of pressure onto Lifa with the Widowmaker to come up with some clutch pickoffs for the team.
Yeah, I was looking at the clock there. NRG legit did lose 1 second. I don't know how that's happened. Well, NRG, you're just going to have to make do. Even though 1 second can make a big difference. See what Rascal and Stratus do here. Rascal's gonna be looking for the early pickoffs, and Stratus, I mean, his Anubis playstyle is just very predictable, but also very consistent in building up quick blades and flanking from the side. You're always gonna find him on the left side to begin with.
Yeah, that Widowmine is always gonna be there for you. He's shot to the body, so he's gonna back off until he gets healed up. He's getting some good shuriken damage off right now. He found the high ground is going to get contested, but that's what he's able to do. Anytime someone uses a gap closer onto him, he just dashes away, but Waifu is able to chase down Phozix.
Stratus makes it easy, finishes off Lifa, who's already under pressure. And look at this for NRG. Not only is this a clean take, but Stratus was able to lay enough damage into the tanks that he's already going to have a blade up for point B. NRG could be just speed running all over bye week here. And yeah, bye week gets a few kills, but it's not going to be enough. It's already an unstoppable snowball. As much as Minish did have a decent attempt there towards the end.
This is where I want to see if Minish swaps off. I mean, he is close to the whole hog. It can be used to try to put a stop to Stratus on the Genji. But, you know, a lot of people do go for the Brigitte, and he's going to go ahead and swap off. He knows that the blade is a real threat, and he wants to stop the snowball.
Yeah, all I want to see here is Stratus. Pure and simple, simply Stratus, because he has a blade. There's really nothing that can stop it. I mean, Valkyrie, it's nice healing, but it's not going to prevent the blade from doing everything at once. This is a golden opportunity for NRG, and an even better one for Stratus. He just needs to avoid the early stun. Gets stunned, but he's sealed back up. Blade, 2 more seconds. Cutting through the tanks. 4 kills for Stratus on the other side, and that's enough. Brigitte will hamper him no longer, and NRG gonna finish Anubis in style.
Smex even getting a 2-man self-destruct at the end. And that is exactly what we were expecting to see out of NRG, just snowballing onto point B. Stratus with a great blade there, even though it looked a little bit scary. He got stunned up, and that's what they were looking to do, but they weren't able to convert off of that.
Yep.
You said put Stratus in and everything was going to be okay, and you know what? You guys were right.
Yeah, map 1, really good with Stratus and Rascal in. Map 2, Stratus gone, not so good. Map 3, Stratus back in, return to normalcy there, where, look, I mean, Stratus has been the most consistent player for NRG for a while now. You just got to keep him in the game.
So if we've learned anything today, NRG, what would it be?
You play Stratus. You
Don't
play
roll that
dice.
Don't roll that dice early on in the series. It honestly could be a 2-1 right now. And, you know, bye week could still be in the series. But now that they've got it locked down, this is where you can experiment more, where they should have experimented at this point.
Right. So what do you think that even though bye week cannot take the series, we can maybe see them try new things to try and improve a little bit? Do you think we can see that? Do you think it's going to take one individual player? Just more communication?
I mean, bye week, realistically speaking, when NRG was coming at them full strength, I mean, they were getting outplayed in most facets of the game. And I would even argue back at Kings Row, where the DPS was in total disarray for NRG, you saw the biggest difference in particular for the tank play, where, you know, Shane came in and he did have moments where he looked better than Cheershoy, especially last week, but you look at the difference here from the NRG tanks, from Swan, and from Smex. They've just simply been outplaying and outzoning the tanks of bye week, which, bear in mind, bye week at one point was known for their tank play. So, I mean, beyond DPS issues, I think bye week needs to figure out what is wrong with their tank play right now.
Yeah, I mean, last week they looked completely rejuvenated. They were going for a lot more divey compositions, and it was working out for them. They were going for the 2-2-2 dives, and with the help of Shane on the Winston, it succeeded in some regards, but now they're slowing down their gameplay, and it's not working out for them at this point. I don't want to see Shane on the Orisa. Put him back on the Winston, put him back on the Reinhardt, maybe go for the Goats comp, go for something that really enables him.
Do you think it's all downhill from here for bye week, or do you think that there is some uphill, maybe some players that we should keep our eyes on that you think did show some improvement and that maybe as the series goes on, they'll keep getting better?
Lifa is a gem on the team right now, where I think he's probably been the brightest spot for bye week as time has gone on here, where he's done well on Widow. He's taken the task. Other damage dealers certainly got the better of Poise over and over again. Him versus Rascal was a much more even matchup, but I mean, he's been a threat for bye week at a minimum. So Rialto could be a chance for him to spread his wings a little bit.
It is our question mark map.
Which is why, like, seeing the point A defense coming out from bye week there on Anubis was really weird, right? Because they could have really tried to enable Lifa a bit more, but instead they put Shane on Orisa, who's not mobile, who's not going to be able to help out Lifa if he gets jumped upon. So that was really odd.
Well, Rialto is our kind of a map. Anything can have a kind of a map. So maybe, who knows? Maybe bye week will pull something out. What are you guys thinking?
Right now, I mean, I'm thinking, what is the NRG roster? I reserve all comments until I see who NRG has put in the game.
All right, that's fair. That's totally fair. Do you feel the same?
I think NRG are going to run Poise, so this is anyone's map.
Anyone's map. All right, well, let's see who takes the map right now.
Ah.
You've benched Stratus again. Oh.
But this is where you're supposed to run Poise, where you've already secured the series, and you need him to get experience. You need to get mileage out of it.
But you can also play Stratus with Poise. You don't have to bench Stratus. Like, this isn't either or a thing. All right, well.
The worry and, like, just all the emotion in your voice there, ZP. It's so earnest. It's palpable.
I don't understand. I mean, I understand, but I don't. Well, bye week has a great chance to add a map to their total here. We'll see how things go. I know Poise had real rough issues with position on Kings Row, and I don't know if it gets any better on Rialto, where it's even less figured out, but I suppose we'll see.
Yeah, double sniper coming out for bye week here. Minish, excuse me, on the Hanzo. And then they do have, of course, Waifu and Shane. Oh, Lifa! That was a quick peek. This Rascal tries to look over, and I don't know if they can red.
Oh, nice hook! Pulls him in! Waifu read Fozzik so well there! And even though they weren't able to deny the res, they definitely got rid of the Mercy. That was nice by Waifu.
Yeah, that's a good exchange there. Res for another pick. All right, I'll go for that. Another hook comes in. Waifu really coming in hot with these now. They continue to charge forward.
All right, well, bye week just mowing their way on through. And even though Rascal gets one after being back up, his team is well gone. And credit where credit is due. That was a sick hook from Waifu that has given bye week the leg up.
During our halftime break, we were actually discussing Waifu kind of disappearing in this map, but now he's already made his presence known. Halt comes in, but they're not able to get anything off of it. The Fortify is there to stop it. Rascal takes out JKW, so NRG can go for the retake.
Meanwhile, Widow v Widow, Poise, again on the Lifa, aided that infrared sight. Now, fighting Pizza Demon, a little bit close for comfort, but NRG pulls himself out of the fire, and big credit to Rascal there for that early pick on the JKW.
I was a little worried for Poise there as he tried to take the 1v1 up against Pizza Demon. He's just one headshot away from falling and losing that now. So NRG able to put a stop to bye week, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And, you know, generally that's where teams are able to stop the offense just before the payload makes that checkpoint. Rascal now is on the highest of grounds here. ready to drop that barrage onto bye week.
Ooh, and Shane needed more healing there. That was tough. The shield went down, stopped protecting JKW, and I don't know how that much poke damage came out, but Rascal is going to get res back up here, so that's temporary at best in terms of pickoffs. You'd think. Where's the res? Okay, there it is.
A little too late, though.
I was getting a little bit worried there.
There we go. JKW brings Pizza Demon back into this, but still, that's a huge res. That's not going to be in this next fight. Not going to be there for another 25 seconds. Poise performing a bit better now, but it's also Rascal just opening up with this Pharah, getting some huge pickoffs.
Rascal's been the prime mover here for NRG, whereas Pharah's looked a lot better here so far. Smex gets Pizza Demon early on, but Phosix is out of this. Now, there's not going to be a res for NRG. NRG has a good situation here. They still even might get a res back onto the Zen. But Shane gonna fall again, and Shane is not getting set up as well as he would like. However, the res is there, but now we just see bye-week bleeding people as Rascal. Oh, this is cruelty to the Zenyatas. He can't even swim!
One of the biggest issues here right now for bye week is that these have been actually like long extended skirmishes. No real full 6v6 team fight, no setups coming out from bye week to try and get back onto the point. NRG have just been creating these long skirmishes, and that's been dwindling away at the time of bye week. Now they're down to 45 seconds. It's
also weird to me that Rascals had this much room on Pharah, where Leafa immediately got him, but it seems like when they get in the middle of the fight, Leafa just is looking at other things. He's not keeping an eye on Rascal, and Rascal's getting to do whatever he wants. I mean, right now, if I had to predict, I'd say Rascal's just gonna like flank and kill 2 people with a barrage. And
he goes.
Well, he is on the flank part, so see if I can be a cheap infomercial fortune teller. And didn't even need the barrage. Got rid of Shane, got the supercharger, goes to the other side, and easy does it. Also, Shane's been dying early a lot.
Yeah, it's been very difficult to try and keep Shane alive just because so much damage is coming out from Rascal, who, like you mentioned, has gone completely uncontested now. As it looks like time has run out, bye week will not be able to touch the points. They're going to be held here in the first points of Rialto.
Definitely more competent showing for NRG with this lineup here, where Poise wasn't getting bullied anywhere near as much. So a little bit of a redemption compared to King's Row, which was a bit less of a good showing for NRG, to say the least. Bye week, gonna have to have one ridiculous hold here, but you know, it comes down to it. At some point, gotta deal with the Pharah. Like, Rascal got to do pretty much whatever he wanted there.
Completely agreed. I mean, King's Row did not instill any kind of confidence in us in Poise's play. But with Rascal just completely opening up, I mean, I believe, you know, they didn't really run Rascal on a DPS on the Kings Row defense. They had him on the Orisa. He swapped off, I believe, to the Brigitte afterwards. So now Poise is able to just relax and take his time. The pressure's not on him because Rascal is doing a lot more of the heavy lifting.
This is normally a case where I'd say, like, okay, pressure's off. NRG should take it, no problem. There's going to be a lot of pressure on if we get 2 minutes in and bye week is holding them back, because then it's just like, oh no. If you actually don't get to this yellow box of victory after that sort of hold, which is possible, I mean, first point holds are pretty good, there's going to be some splaining to do.
Shane, gonna just enjoy the sights here, taking a ride around the canal. Now, this is the interesting thing coming up from NRG so far. With the composition that they're hovering over, it looks like possibly for the offense a solo support composition, which generally we see as the Mercy. There we go. Phosix swaps off as soon as I say that. But the other interesting note is Rascal's on the Tracer while Poise is on the Genji.
I want to believe they're going to swap that. I really desperately want to hope they're going to swap that. Okay. It's going to be Poise to the Widow, because that would just be nonsensical when Poise has been a hit scan specialist up until this point.
So we'll see as he's on the Widowmaker now. Takes to the sky, but there is an Orisa barrier in his way. Rascal making his long journey around to get the flank onto bye week here. See if they're aware of it.
It's a very long journey around. Meanwhile, Poise looking for opportunities on the back end. Rascal flipping to the outskirts, looking for Leafa right now. It's nice engage early on, and more importantly, Poise got JKW, the most important pick you can get. Gonna get Shane as the shield is broken, and good redemption as Smex just breaks his way on through. NRG, one team fight away from putting this away 4-0.
That was just the beautiful halt coming out from Swan, forces both the tanks off the high ground, and now it's come down to this. Now, of course, the distance, the run-back distance here, it's pretty short. The halt is eaten up, the hook doesn't connect. They're gonna have to back away as Minish is able to take out Poise.
I don't know why Poise is in a spot where Minish should have been able to get him there, but it does give an opening now the bye week. Minish against Fozix, there's not gonna be any reses, but it's dominance in the payload from NRG. The rest of bye week just getting bullied by the combination of Swan and Rascal, and still looking like NRG might just be able to power this one through. Rascal doing anything he wants in Tracer. Who's looking at Rascal right now? No one. No one's looking at Rascal. This is Nene syndrome all over again.
Yeah, Shane is trying his best to stall out, but he had just swapped off onto the Winston. There's no chance of a Primal Rage. No chance of anyone touching Minish, just barely missing it. There we go. It's going to be NRG to complete the 4-0 in a much better fashion than what we saw in King's Row.
Yeah, Poise was in, but it still worked. It was okay. It was okay. Everything
gonna be okay.
fine.
It was better than King's Row, to be sure. Like, we didn't see anyone falling to the canals for no reason, and I would say more than anything else, it was the Rascal show coming out, where Rascal not only was just terrorizing on the Pharah, where he was constantly up in the air, raining down rockets, there wasn't a good response for him, but on the offense there as Tracer, he was doing a lot of good work as well, where he got all the cleanup and more as the fight broke down into that skirmish area.
Yeah, so going into these next few weeks, NRG Esports can feel confident about how they're playing, do you think? Like, forgetting that King's Row ever happened.
I mean, I still, from what we've seen here so far, there's not really a good reason to ever put stress to the bench aside from wanting to try out other players, wanting to develop other players. It's still a risky maneuver. I mean, not so much there because you're just working on map scores opposed to series, but I don't think they should really stray from Rascal Stratus until they're up 3-0 in a series right now, from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, with the strength of their remaining opponents for the next 3 weeks, you can't run that risk at all. If they were pushed to the limit by bringing in Poise up against bye week, what would happen if they tried that up against any other team in Group B?
They would get demolished.
Right.
Very simple.
Right. And bye week, going into these next few weeks, what can they do to improve?
I think it was a very rough day for Shane. I think just tank gameplay in general, like Waifu did have that incredible hook, which is cool, but I don't think Shane and Waifu really covered themselves in glory here. And, you know, whether that be team-wise or them having an off day, it's very difficult to win Overwatch if your tank initiations aren't top-notch, and you can't lose tanks early as often as bye week is. So whether that was on the end of the supports helping the tanks or the tanks being too aggro, they really got to buckle down and think of ways to keep their tanks alive, because they're not going to win games when they're down.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of stay away from maps where Orisa is a little bit favored. I didn't like that look coming out from bye week. It didn't play towards like the strengths of Shane. I think he does perform better as a Winston. As at Orisa, he's just too stationary. He's not receiving enough heals, and especially from the DPS duo of Rascal and Stratus, they were laying it down, and we got to see there on Rialto just how much unrelenting pressure came down on his head.
Mm-hmm. So for all of these maps that we've seen today, if you guys can think back that far, can you tell me any of your highlights that you've watched?
I would say the biggest highlight, Nene. Nene was a
obvious,
one-man
yes.
army. Yes. I mean, obvious, but still very much in my mind as the undying hero of XL2, where you can point to a lot of stuff there, but Nene was just super good today.
The great pursuit of Nene on Volskaya is just, that was, yeah.
I want to like embroider that on a pillow, the great pursuit of Nene. It'll go down on Contenders history.
Well, he's going to get pursued by OWL teams if he keeps us up, so good for him.
That's true, that's true. I mean, we can't sing his praises enough. That was amazing work, and when amazing work is done on Contenders, it should be talked about, and I feel like today, of all of the maps of all of the teams, Nene really proved to be the MVP of my heart.
Yeah, and to be able to like swap gears the way he did, right? Going from Tracer, you know, a flanker up against Widowmaker, one of the a sniper. It's really great to see that he does it so quickly and he's able to perform on both at such a high level.
Right. It wasn't a one-trick pony per se. It was. There's dimension. He's not just three-dimensional. He's maybe 5
He's
or
got
6
layers.
He's like an onion.
As it turns out, putting Nene on American soil and having him not play Tour Ping has been a huge upgrade to him. Who knew?